Good morning to everybody. This is for anyone who is taking DMT or is still looking for the answer, still trying to experience their awakening, still trying to realize the answer that's so simple that we overcomplicate it by a long shot. The movie Alice in Wonderland from 1951 is the closest idea to reality that there is. And some people don't even understand or understand how fundamental the movie Alice in Wonderland actually is. But that movie speaks volumes. And if you have ever done DMT and seen the reality beyond this one, because I have, through DMT, you will see that Alice in Wonderland is the closest thing to reality there is. And I'm going to explain myself. But the whole fantasy that she created in her mind, where she's tumbling through these realms and she's constantly, the rooms are constantly changing and the paths are like all over the place and scattered. That's exactly what it is to be on DMT. The rooms are changing, everything is moving constantly at one time. You are never in one spot, ever. So in DMT, it's like you're moving so fast, you're traveling so fast, you're experiencing every single thing at one time because you're becoming aware that you're it. However, when you first are entering that dimension through DMT, you're not aware yet. So you slowly go through this hole, and what's at the end of this hole is our answer, and this is what we're trying to get to. And it's just like Alice chasing the white rabbit through all these realms. And the rabbit has no time to stop and talk. I'm late for a very important date. No time to stop and say hello, goodbye, I'm late. He's late. He's in a hurry. So he's running, and she's chasing this white rabbit through all these different doors, through all these different realms, and the doors in the rooms constantly keep changing. This was a movie about DMT, folks. Nothing more. And what you're finding is that the white rabbit she's trying to follow is her answer. So us being Alice, because I've said this in my videos, we're all Alice tumbling down this rabbit hole. However, we're under the understanding, before having gone down that rabbit hole, before having gone through there, we're under the understanding that we are Alice, the ego, the person, the body. I'm Tyler, that's Alice. So I'm chasing this white rabbit, which is supposed to be Jesus in the sky, or whatever religion you follow that puts God outside of yourself. And that God outside of yourself is the white rabbit. You're following and chasing realm after realm after realm, day after day after day, book after book after book, note after note. You're chasing this white rabbit. And you're marvelously forgetting and tricking yourself that this white rabbit at the end of the tunnel is nothing other than you. And this is why I said, warning, watch at your own discretion, because you are not Alice. That's what DMT shows you. And she starts crying when she feels she's stuck in this reality. She's stuck, just as I did. I started crying in my DMT trip when my veil was pulled back and I saw I'm not Alice, which is the body. I'm not this person. I am it. I am what I'm chasing. The white rabbit that I was trying to follow, which was God, was me. That's what DMT shows you. DMT is not meant to be a fun, trippy type of drug. It's not even meant to be viewed as a drug. It's a spiritual tool to connect you to your higher self. For those of you who have driven yourself mad enough, insane enough, trying to find God, trying to chase this white rabbit, eventually you will give in and try DMT. Because this is when you hit the point of insanity and say, I don't care, I have nothing to lose, I just want the answer. I've searched everywhere and I can't find it. And you can't find it because you're putting this white rabbit as something other than you. What, as I said, the white rabbit is nothing other than referencing God. Whatever your understanding of God is. And so you're praying to it, you're chasing it, you're following it. You're not acknowledging that this is you at the end of the tunnel. There is no separate you at the end of that tunnel. And that's why a lot of people, when you watch them on DMT and they're experiencing the breakthrough, the first words out of their mouth is, I am that I am. I am. It's me. Because you're seeing yourself pulled back from the veil, the body, and you're seeing there is no separate you in the body. You are God. You are the I am that I am. You are the white rabbit at the end of the tunnel. And everyone loves using the rabbit hole reference. Follow the white rabbit, go down the rabbit hole, but you're not accepting the fact that you are the white rabbit. You are the rabbit hole. Your lower conscious self is tumbling through the rabbit hole, and your greater self is putting you through this rabbit hole to ask questions. You're it. You are. This is the veil. This is the distraction. This is the Alice, the game you're playing in, you're getting lost in, trying to find your way back home. Just as she was. She wanted out. She wanted to go back home. And it's realizing, simply realizing, you are the white rabbit. You already are. There is nothing to do. There is nothing to beat. There is nothing to escape. There is nothing to hold on to. You simply are. I am that I am. And nothing could be simpler. But it's natural human behavior to overcomplicate the game, to ask the questions and put every single thing outside of you as God. Because it's terrifying for us to actually think. Some of us won't admit this to themselves, but some will. And it's terrifying to actually think, what if I was God? Because remember, God is all there is, which is one. One. Not multiple, not individuals, one. And so for some, we fight this. We're terrified of this because to be one means you're not the self that you're seeing in the mirror. To be one means you're no longer an individual separate from anything else. That all is the divine. That everything is sacred, not just one thing. And that's why this understanding blows religion to hell. Because religion puts only one thing as the divine instead of everything around you. Everything. Everything is the divine. The good and the bad. Of course, people in their magical fantasies, they want to believe just the love is God, just the love is good, just this is good, just this is the good side, this is the divine. That's not the case, because you cannot have male or life without male and female. The positive and the negative. You must embrace the two to create, period. And so what the cat keeps telling her is we're all mad here, and it's true, we are all mad here because subconsciously we know we are the only ones in existence. And there's an idea called solipsism, where solipsism paints the idea that you are the only mind in existence, and this is partly true. Some fight this, which I did, because I used to entertain this idea of solipsism, but then I came to the conclusion solipsism is impossible, because how are we all thinking and perceiving and saying different things? If we were all one mind, we'd be saying and in sync. We'd all be saying the same things, perceiving the same things, being exactly in sync. So the same time I'm talking, you're talking. The same words coming out of my mouth are coming out of yours. And so I'd say we can't all be one. We're not, solipsism isn't true. We can't be one mind. But that's where you must know yourself. Science tells you we only use 10% of our brains and leave this 90% untouched. And this is true. You're 10% tricking yourself into being Alice, into being the body, into being the person. Right? And then the 90% that you're not even using, not even exploring, is the rabbit hole, is the white rabbit you're chasing. So it's very obvious, 90% to 10%. 90% is dominant. By far. So you're 90% tricking yourself into being this 10%. And this little 10%, this 90% we're not touching is what's in the back of our minds that eats us every day, because we know something greater than ourselves. What it is, we can't say, we can't put a definite answer to, but we know something is not right. We know something isn't true. Something isn't correct in our belief system or in our reality. And this is what it is. You're chasing the white rabbit, which is nothing other than yourself. You're stirring up the game and creating more questions for yourself and creating more anxiety for yourself to work yourself up into a frenzy, and you're playing the very game of getting lost into the questions. And just as I said, we're all mad here because we all subconsciously, 90% know we are the only thing in existence. There is no ruler, no alpha, no king outside of the universe with hands and a mouth to talk like me that's saying, I'm going to grant your prayer but deny yours, and I'm going to heal your cancer but you're going to die of cancer right now, and you get a new car but you don't because you don't deserve it. There's no one doing this. It's all of us. And as I said before, that's why there's nothing in the sky that's striking down men who are serial killers, who are rapists, who are doing the most heinous and evil acts of evil or hate. There's nothing stopping them because we are. If there was an authoritarian figure, he'd be stopping the evil, stopping the bad. If this is purely what God is, then there would be no forms of hate or bad or negative in the universe. But it's not how it works. That's why I said you must embrace the two as one. Embrace them two equally. But that's what has us so confused, is we're painting this white rabbit as something different than us, as something outside of us. And that's why you're literally chasing it. That's why you're trying to follow it, because you have not yet acknowledged this is you. You're still living as the Alice, trying to follow and pursue and chase, and you're on this frantic chase, stressing your own self. And like I said, if I can just obtain this, if I can just reach it. But as I said, careful for getting everything you've ever wanted, because once you get it, now what? What do? Careful not to disappoint yourself. And I say this to the people who feel once they obtain this knowledge that something magically happens around them. That's not the case. You don't ascend into energy. You don't just ascend from your body. You become consciously aware and infinite, immortal through knowledge. You're Enoch becoming Metatron, becoming an infinite angel through knowledge, understanding, because you've now freed yourself from the temporary, the finite. It's funny to me that it exists at all in the human mind, that there's an idea that we could exist not at all after we die. That we can die and go absolutely nowhere, yet we were nowhere before we were birthed. So where did you come from? You weren't non-existent forever before you were birthed, so where did you come from? That's only an ego fear or worry, is that when we die we go nowhere and the game is over forever. The game is not over forever, the game is over for the now. And so you will birth yourself again, and it will feel as if you have never been birthed before. Just as it does now. You don't have any recollection of your past lives, of who you were, of you even being birthed a second time. Because what you're experiencing now is the very fundamental feeling of the cosmos coming to life. The questions you're asking are the cosmos coming to life through that 10% of your brain. The cosmos is the 90% of all knowing. Your little brain is the receiver to those cosmos that is the 10% being fed the thoughts, being fed the questions, playing the game with your own self. It's been you the whole time. There is no escape. That's why I say suicide is not the way out. And that's why we're all mad here. We're all mad here because you'd be lying to yourself if you realized this knowledge and didn't at least ponder suicide once, because I did. But what you find is there is no escape. There is nothing to hold on to. Nothing. You're fighting yourself. You're running from yourself. You're trying to escape your own self. There's nothing to hold on to, nowhere to run. So suicide is not the answer. We're all mad here because we've thought about it. We've considered it because we're under the illusion, or we're under this idea that we're separate. And when that illusion is blown to hell, you find out we're all one, then you're starting to understand the madness within. We're understanding we are it. There is only one being in existence, and it's the energy behind our consciousness. And it's not outside us, it's inside us the whole time. So how do we ever obtain it? How do we ever find it? By realization. The Buddha, the man who awakened, the Buddha, the man who awakened from the dream. And the dream is nothing other than you being Alice, chasing this rabbit that does not exist because it was you all along. And when I had my first dose of DMT, I cried like a baby. I cried because I was not expecting this. I didn't expect that. Here I am, Tyler, and yes, I know who I am. I'm Tyler, I know who I am. I'm going through this rabbit hole. As soon as I took DMT, it felt like I can see where the term abducted by aliens comes from during this stage, because I felt as if my soul was just sucked, like vacuum sucked out of my body. And I went into a dimension just as real as this. Everything I was touching was just as real and solid as this in front of me. And it got to a point, just like in the point of Alice in Wonderland, about halfway in, she's tired of this place. She wants to go back home. She wants to escape this place. Because as I said, once you know you're it, you're aware you're the only one in existence. It's mad. It's insanity. You don't want this forever. You only think you do. It's insanity. It's mad. You only think you want that. But once you get it, you're like, now what? You want to come back. You want to come back to the body. You want to come back to your family. And that's what happened to me. I started crying because I was under the impression on the trip, remember, I'm in the state of mind here, it was telling me you'll never see your family again because your family is in your mind. All these people around you are your mind. And I was fighting it and crying and saying, no, that's not true. I want to come home. I want to see my family again. I want to come home. I want to come back. I want to come back to reality. To this reality I knew here. And the reality we know here is the illusion, is the dream. And why do we want to come back to that dream when we're in the higher knowledge of self? Because it's insanity, it's madness. You're obtaining that knowledge of God that you've wanted all this time only to find it was you. You're only comforted by this idea of God because it wasn't you, because it was something outside of you. And so the responsibility is not yours. It wasn't me, it was something else. He did it, she did it. No. It's scary to actually think you did it. You did it. You're doing this. You created all this. You put yourself in a body to explore and get lost in. Because we're all one. I did it. You did it. And so this is why I'm trying to stress to people. Once you obtain the knowledge of God, or at death, you come to the same realization because you're returning back to yourself before the dream. But you're back into the knowledge of knowing you're the only one in existence, which is that DMT stage of when you're in that stage. The euphoric stage. And it's madness. Nobody wants to stay consciously in that DMT world forever. In fact, most people that I've talked to have come down from it and said, wow, I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be consciously aware again. I'm glad I'm back in the body. I'm glad I'm back. Because it's relieving. You realize that creation is the only way to experience energy. And if you were this one being of energy, this God that you're putting as outside of you, that's not you, you'd be doing exactly what we're doing now. Being birthed for the first time to ask the questions, to get lost, and to play the game, and to chase this being of God that's not us. Exactly what we're doing is it. See, we wish to be shown, but not all of us know what we're asking for. Some of you don't know what you're asking for when you really want to know what's down that rabbit hole. Some of you aren't ready. You think you are, but you're not ready for that great disappointment. What do I mean by that? Well, as I said in my last live yesterday, as Alan Watts says, it's like deceiving a child with an empty fist. You waited all this time, such eagerness, such happiness. Oh, I can't wait for the answer to be revealed to me. This is going to be great. Only to find there was absolutely nothing there. Nothing. And you wonder why we're all mad here? You wonder why we're all mad? We're all a little bit insane? The greatest minds have been mad, yeah? This is why, because it's the realization of self, and there is nothing realer. So to someone who has no idea what I'm talking about, I'm a mad hatter, I'm an insane person who's far out, far gone, and a psycho. I belong in a loony bin. I'm speaking no knowledge here, I'm an idiot. I'm a buffoon. The truth is, so are you. You're only pretending you're not. You're only pretending you're not mad. You're only pretending you don't get it. You're only pretending. You're only forgetting. Who are you? Said the caterpillar. This was not an encouraging opening for a conversation, Alice replied, rather shyly. I hardly know, sir. Just at present, at least I know who I was when I got up this morning, but I think I must have been changed several times since then. What do you mean by that? Said the caterpillar sternly. Explain yourself. What do you mean by that? Explain yourself. I can't explain myself, I'm afraid, sir, said Alice, because I'm not myself, you see. Because I'm not myself, you see. I'm not Tyler. I'm playing the game as Tyler. I am that I am, speaking through the vessel of Tyler. I've come to the realization of my own self through the vessel of Tyler. And so I'm speaking to other reflections of myself through this vessel of Tyler. And this vessel of Tyler is my ego, is the Alice, is not me, is the one marvelously tricking myself. And so the more attached, the more in love you become with the mirror image, staring at yourself in that mirror, having to have everything look perfect, the more in love you're falling with the dream, with the temporary, with the finite, with the illusion, with everything that's going to be stripped from you one day. And it's only hard to let go when you've attached to it. That's why Yoda says, don't get attached to people you lose. Embrace them. Embrace them turning into the Force, as Yoda says. Embrace it. Love them, do not. Mourn them, do not. Why? Because they're you. You always have been. You always will be. I'm sorry, he doesn't say love them, love them, do not. He says mourn them, do not, miss them, do not. Sorry. I knew that didn't sound right. He says mourn them, do not, miss them, do not. Embrace them turning into the Force. And that's the great realization of Alice in Wonderland. The only way out of Wonderland is in. The only way out of Wonderland is in. By realizing you already are. By realizing that you don't have to chase a white rabbit, you are the white rabbit. What led Alice into the rabbit hole? Curiosity. Her simply wondering and being curious put her through that rabbit hole because she had to chase this rabbit, which is us. We're chasing religion, and we have to chase our religion, which is our God. And if we don't run fast enough, it will escape us. But what you don't realize is you're stirring up the game for yourself. You're creating stress for yourself. By creating the illusion, you have to run fast enough to catch this thing, because it's outside of you. Absolutely not the case. It is you. And this is something we prolong, we put off, we delay our entire life. And so we allow ourselves to comfortably get lost into this meaningless reality of Instagram and what's trending and the rappers and relationship goals and all these stupid, meaningless trends and topics. We allow ourselves to engage in these. Why? Because we secretly don't want to know the answer. So we're putting it off by getting lost into the bullshit, the gossip, the crap, the garbage. So you ask yourself, why do some people want the garbage? Why do they want the fighting and the celebrities and the politics? Because some of them are not ready to stop playing the game. This is what some aren't aware of. Some can't accept this. They say, well, why can't everyone just awaken and we all just be glorified or in this glorious place of knowing, of enlightenment? And the fact of the matter is, we're all on our own path. So not everybody wants to know or needs to know. Or hell, not everybody will stop pretending they're it. Because as I said, just because you don't have this knowledge doesn't mean you're not it. It means you're not ready to stop playing the game. But you take a person who says he's not God and you put him on DMT, and I guarantee you he will come back saying there was nothing but me. I am that I am. I was the creator. I am the creator. There is no separate self. There is no individual. And when we're all ready to stop playing at our own pace, we will finally admit to ourselves who we are. We will finally stop chasing what's inside us, outside us. We'll finally stop having to pursue knowledge, because you are everything you're searching for already. You're not Alice in the rabbit hole. You are the rabbit hole. I play along every single day. That's a part of the fun. That's solely a part of the fun, just right there. Once you're consciously aware that you're it and the veil you're inside is nothing but a dream and an avatar to get lost in, this reality becomes the most joyous and fun thing you can ever believe in. There is no more depression. I'm not saying you won't get lost in the human emotion of sadness, but there is no you feeling depressed because, oh, poor me, this is not fair. Poor me. Life isn't fair. This is just so absurd. This is unfair. You don't do that anymore. You don't dwell. You embrace and get lost in sadness, but you do not dwell in it. This is where life just begins. Some people say, well, now that I know, what now? What do I do? Well, you have fun. You get lost in and stop taking it so serious. And you realize the new car isn't your answer, the new house isn't your answer, this new set of clothing is not your answer, all this jewelry you have on makes you look like a fool. Because as soon as I ask you who you are underneath all this nice clothing, it's a front. You don't know who you are underneath any of it. You've never began to even ask who you were underneath any of this jewelry. And so you see these rappers spending $1 million on jewelry just to look the part. But they have no absolute idea who the hell they were behind it. Nor do they even understand they are not free. They are being controlled. Rappers are not free. This is one illusion that the teenage world doesn't understand. They're not free. They're not putting out their own messages. The rappers who are signed to corporations are putting out the corporate message. If they don't like your message, that corporation will not release your album. If you do not play chess with them, play by their rules, they will not release your album. You are their puppet, their pawn, and you speak through them. You speak through them and they speak through you. You are pushing their agenda. Big pharma, big pharma, big pharma. What do you hear in every rap song? Big pharma, big pharma, big pharma. Molly Percocet, Molly Percocet. Let me kill myself faster. Let me shut down my insides. All things I don't need to live, right? Fuck it, Molly Percocets. Let me kill myself. Right? Just like in the movie Lean on Me, though. If you want to kill yourself, don't fuck around with it. Don't take some drugs. Go jump off a fucking building. It sounds harsh, but if you want to really kill yourself, don't fuck around with it. Do it all the way. Go full on. Go all the way. And I say that because it pisses me off that these puppets, these pawns are poisoning our children into taking drugs and lean. And I'm sorry, but people say music doesn't have an effect, but music today is an agenda. Just like your movies have subliminals in them, the music industry is the biggest subliminal and agenda pusher in the world right now. Music. By music alone, they're pushing whatever they want. It is now cool, popular, to shut down your insides, to alter your own consciousness, to screw up your own brain. This is cool. See, topics like this are stupid, dumb, unimportant. The people who are speaking about the nonsense are the one the masses are flooding to. Millions of followers, millions of listeners, because people don't want the knowledge. But just as I said, they're simply pretending and playing the game just as I am in a different way. So we're all playing the game of pretending in our own ways. We're all playing the game of forgetting in our own ways because we all subconsciously know we are it, the only thing in existence, and we are God, this being that we're putting outside of ourselves. And like I said, it sounds fun and all when you first say, well, I am God. But when you really think about it, who wants to take on the role of God? Because you are it. You're the alpha, the top head. Everyone has to come to you. You are it. Who wants to be that role? Nobody. We all want it to be something outside of ourselves, of course, because that's the easy thing to do. He did it, she did it. That's easy. Nobody wants to be the actual it. But that's the reality. You are. The it is not he nor she. The it is energy. And that energy is what's driving your consciousness. That energy is what's allowing you to take in the electromagnetic spectrum as color. Think about it. You're taking in electromagnetic patterns, waveforms, as light. Now, how many times have I died during DMT? I've died 3 times during DMT. And my very first trip, I obviously didn't know this. It was all new to me. I did not know I was going to die in my trip. I had no idea what I was getting in for. Absolutely none. So when I took DMT for the first time, the first time was psilocybin. I went with shrooms the first time. Smoked DMT the next. But my first time, it was telling me, basically what happened was, psilocybin's a slower process of DMT, so it takes about 6 hours for the whole trip to be done with. Although you still feel like crap afterwards, because it's still in your system a little bit. But it took about an hour to actually hit me, to actually start altering how I felt. But at first, I felt great. I felt like I was on top of the world, like, wow, this is amazing, this is great. But then it started kicking in a little more and altering my thoughts, my brain, and I was noticing that. And it was telling me, it was physically telling me inside of my head, lay down, lay down, lay down. And I was fighting it because I was like, no, I don't want to lay down, I don't. So I'm in my room pacing back and forth. I'm pacing, just pacing, because I don't want to sit down. I don't know what to do with myself. And it keeps telling me, lay down so you can die now. Lay down so you can die now. Lay down. You're going to die now, lay down. And so obviously I said, I don't want to die. I freaked out. I panicked. I freaked out. I don't want to die. What the hell? I don't want to die. That's not what this was about. I didn't sign up for this. So I started fighting it. I started stirring up the game for myself and fighting it. And when you fight DMT, well, I feel sorry for you. Because you're fighting what's inside your own brain. So after 15 minutes of me literally going mad in my room, pacing back and forth, grabbing my own head, trying to fight it, trying to wake myself up and say, no, 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 no. I said, you know what? Let me let go and just give this a chance. So I said, I'm going to lay down, and it's telling me I'm going to die. So I put my head on that pillow, and as soon as I touched the pillow, I died. I closed my eyes, and it felt as if my soul, my spirit, whatever, my consciousness of my body was sucked out of my body, and I was viewing my body from a person outside of me. I was seeing myself laying dead on my bed from an outsider's view. Mind you, I'm still alive in my conscious mind. And from there, I got taken to a place that I can't explain. I was inside of a hole-like thing, but there was nothing around me. But the weird thing is, there was nothing around me but everything at the same time, because I was feeling every single thing at one time, yet there was nothing around me. And I was spiraling through this vortex that did not end, and that's why I speak about fractal patterns, fractal geometry. Fractal patterns in geometry are patterns that repeat to infinity. And a vortex pattern repeats itself to infinity because it'll just keep swirling down. And that was me tumbling down the rabbit hole. I was going down this vortex-like thing. And I was saying to myself, wow, I'm everything, I'm it. But I still didn't get it yet in the trip. I was seeing that I'm everything, but I still didn't get it. Because in my mind, it was weird. In my trip, I was hearing myself talk to myself as if it was me talking right now. Yet my mouth was not moving and I was basically asleep. I was in the DMT stage. Okay? But I was talking to myself and it told me a few things. And it said, the answer is about to be revealed. You're about to see. Are you ready? Are you ready? You're about to know. Are you ready? And I said, yes, 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 I'm ready. Are you ready? Yes, I'm ready. I'm ready. Are you sure you're ready? And I'm still going down this vortex. Are you sure you're ready? Are you sure you're ready? Yes, yes, I'm ready. And at the end of that rabbit hole was no white rabbit. There was nothing. Just like I said, Alice chasing that white rabbit was her under the impression what she was looking for was something other than herself. The white rabbit that we're chasing is our understanding of God. And we feel we need to chase it at all because we don't understand. It is us. And in that moment, when it showed me, after it showed me, I'm not the body, I'm simply nothing and everything at one time, I am that I am, that's literally what I said. I had my good friend, Gretel, she was trip-sitting me during this time, and she was sitting in this very chair that I am in right now, and I was on my bed, in my trip. And she was on her phone, you know, letting me be, but she was trip-sitting me. She was watching me to make sure I didn't do anything crazy. It's good to have a trip-sitter when you do DMT. So she was on her phone, you know, I was out, and I sat up at her so quick, and I looked up at her and I said, I am that I am. She's like, what? I said, I am that I am. I am. It is me. It's me the whole time. It's me. I am that I am. I am. It's me the whole freaking time. I am that I am. And I couldn't say it fast enough because I had just had my mind blown. Everything I was searching for was me. But like I said, not you in the body. That's why we have the questions of who we are. Because you know you're not the body. And this understanding of DMT is just like what Alan Watts says, deceiving a child with an empty fist, because you're waiting for this grand answer to be revealed to you only to find there's nothing in your hand. There's nothing there. What were you chasing? What were you searching for? You were under the premise that this little white rabbit was God and you were going to chase it. If you just ran hard enough, you'd grab it. You'd be able to catch it and grab it and say, now I know. Now I have the white rabbit, God. Now I have it. But you're not realizing there is no white rabbit. The white rabbit is an illusion. It's your created illusion of God. And you're chasing it. That's why you've never found it. That's why you don't hear God. That's why you don't feel God. That's why, oh, God doesn't care about us and God is unimportant. God is just, Ugh, God's nowhere to be found. God doesn't care about any of us. You're not understanding yourself. You've never taken the time to search. Have you? I understand you've read every book, you've taken notes, and you've been on this search for a long time. But these are all things external. Have you ever internally searched? Went in. Went in instead of out. And so when people ask me what books can you recommend? What poems, what authors, what movies can you recommend for me to study? I say, you want to know the best place? Study yourself. Go look in the mirror. Go look in the mirror and really pull back the veil. Go look in the mirror and stop lying to yourself and stop using your title name as to identify yourself. You're playing. You're playing yourself. You're fooling yourself. You want to know the best book to read to find yourself? Go look in the very mirror. That mirror is every book in existence. You want to know the best study materials? Well, look within. The answers await you. Look within. It gets no simpler. Some people don't want to hear this. They say, well, that's not it. I don't want to look within. That's too simple of an answer. I need something more complicated. I need some books. I need some scientific material. I need something complex. Not something that's simple. I don't want that answer. Look within. Psh, I don't want that answer. That's too simple. That can't be it. And so you dismiss it. You push it away. That's not the answer. Look within. Psh, I know myself. What do I need to look within for? Of course I know who I am. What do I need to look within myself for? There's nothing there. I know who I am. That was my attitude when I got told to look within. It frustrated me because I didn't understand. Like, really? I'm asking you for study material and you're telling me to look within. Thanks a lot. But what you don't get is that's the best advice anyone can give you, because all these studying materials are going to lead you back into yourself anyway. And this is why I say we're delaying and prolonging our awakening. By us studying all the external will lead you back into the internal. But only you will have persistently put yourself through madness. You will have studied all the external only to put yourself through insanity, only to put yourself through madness and to stress and anxiety, instead of just skipping all this and looking straight within. So you didn't have to double back, you just went straight to the source, looking within. Because I promise you, if you do study the external world, thinking you're going to find the white rabbit, it will lead you back into yourself every time. And I know this for a fact. Because before I had this knowledge of myself, this is what I've done. Notes, pictures, notes, pictures, notes. And all this is great. All of this is just fine. That's perfect. That's glorious. That's fine. Magnificent. Well, much credit. Good. Right? But me doing all of this right here was me studying all the external, thinking I'm going to grab this white rabbit and find it after I've done all of this work. And all of this work, which was the external, pushed me right back in. Because all this work right here, as brilliant as it is, showed me I was lying to myself. Sure, it looks good to present to people. Sure, it looks complex and all that. Sure, it makes sense. But I'm still playing the game. I'm still stuck in the external, studying the external. I'm not looking within. And so it took me all of this insanity just to go back into myself when I could have skipped all this and went back straight within. But everything happens for a reason. So me finding all this wasn't for anything. This was a part of my awakening, a part of my process, and it took me understanding this to understand I must go inside, within. So I'm not saying this was for nothing. If you're on a journey of self-discovery and you have all this too, or you have all these notes and books, I'm not saying it's for nothing. But I'm saying is not to drive yourself insane with the external research, external world around you. It's all internal. It's within. And what's behind your eyes, it's what's known as the jester. The joker, the one that's fooling you, the one that's rusing you. Marvelously tricking you. Because it's telling you and identifying you with the body and nothing else. Nothing other than the body. And this is where Alan Watts was a pure genius in this philosophy, because he was able to break down the fundamentals of the voluntary and involuntary. What you're voluntarily doing, consciously doing, and involuntary, unconsciously doing. And I know I say this a lot, but this is a very good point to bring up. It's huge. It's huge. Because we've never thought of ourselves on this scale, ever. But you have to really think about it. There's a pencil here. You telling your hand to pick up this pencil was voluntary, because you consciously did it. So you know that this was me. I did this. I picked up the pencil because I voluntarily did it. But as the same time I'm talking and giving this lecture and picking up this pencil, my heart is beating, my blood is flowing, my food is digesting, involuntarily. So I'm involuntarily doing stuff while I'm voluntarily doing stuff. I'm consciously doing things while I'm unconsciously doing things. But there is no distinction between what you are doing. You are doing both of these things. You're just partly conscious of one of the things you're doing. You've never taken the time to stop and think. It's me that consciously pumps my heart. I'm just subconsciously aware of it. It's me that consciously breaks down my food. That grows my muscles, my bones, keeps my insides clean, all that. There is no difference between the voluntary and involuntary. And as soon as you realize that, you realize you are the universe. You are the works. Just because you're not aware, it's involuntary, it's subconscious action, you're still doing that. And that's why I say, there's nothing to hold on to. You didn't ask to be birthed here, so you have no choice. You have no say-so to creation. There is no reaching this knowledge and beating the game. There is none of that. That's all an illusion, a fallacy, a fantasy in the ego's mind. The ego thinks if it can just think hard enough, it will catch this white rabbit and it will obtain the knowledge of God and rise into energy and just be blissful forever. Forever and ever on. You'll have this white rabbit in your hands and you'll just be sitting here with God's knowledge like, yes, I got it. What you don't realize is this is you. Not this. The rabbit. And that's the thing. After I die, and I've never said this before on a live, but I will say this just in case. After I die, I will return to myself as the whole of knowing. But since I'm in the game of already knowing, and I know that it is me, I know what to expect for myself when I die. So when I die, I'm going to return to myself and say, welcome back. It was a dream, and I knew it. I've awakened from the dream, and I awakened from the dream in the dream. While in the dream, I've awakened. So when I return to myself, I'll awakened. A lot of people who haven't awakened to that, when they die, they return to themselves and say, oh my God, that wasn't even real. It was just a dream. Holy shit. That felt so real. Oh my God. Well, thank God it's not the end. It wasn't even real. Whew. And for me, people who know will return to ourselves and say, wow, what a ride. What a damn ride. That felt so real. Woo! That felt so real. Wow. What a rush. And you know what will happen again? We'll project ourselves out yet again in another creation. And it will feel as if we had just been born and never were birthed before, previous. And when I die, it will be this. I will return to myself and then be birthed again, having no memory of who Tyler ever was, having no memory of anything I just remembered. And it wouldn't be fun. It would not be a game if I remembered. If I was birthed into my next life and remembered, well, I'm Tyler. I was Tyler here, and I remembered I'm God, but now I'm here again to remember I'm God. Only I know I'm God already. I am nuts. We're all mad here. We're all mad here. Even you are. And I sound so nuts because you're so nuts. We're all nuts here. We're all mad here. But that's literally what we're doing. You can't trick yourself when you're consciously aware you're tricking yourself. You can't lie to yourself when you're consciously aware of the lie. So when I die, I will be birthed with no memory, no recollection, and it will feel as if I had never been birthed before, and I will slowly explore and entertain and answer the questions that I answered in this very existence. I'm not saying it will be this reality with the yellow sun. For all we know, we're birthed and the sun is red, the sun is blue, the sun is green. I'm not saying it will be this very reality, but it is us creating realities to find ourselves again and again and again and again and again. You are it. And this is the only way energy works. To experience energy is through reincarnation, and reincarnation is simply creation. It doesn't necessarily mean we're birthing into characters just in this reality. But it could mean that we are infinitely creating realms and characters within those realms. An infinite amount means no specific amount. An infinite. So while this reality is going on, our next reality and the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one is going on as well. All now. At the same time, I'm asking these questions and I'm speaking to all these beautiful people here. I could be already dead. I could have already been born into my next reality. And I know I'm getting into the sci-fi aspect of it, because nothing I'm speaking of is something I can prove, but it makes you think, doesn't it? And that's the purpose of it all. I love it. To make you think. Make you ponder things that you never thought about. Make you think about things that you've wanted to put off. Because all the thoughts and all the wonders you're putting off are the fundamental thoughts that are important. Us worrying, oh, is my phone bill paid today? Should I wear these Jordan shoes so everyone can see me in Jordans, or should I wear Nike shoes today so everyone can see me in Nikes and know I'm important? You know, these are the things we entertain ourselves with instead of the real questions. And I've posed this question in my last live, but supposing you were the only person on the earth, there was not one other pair of eyes for you to be seen outside of yourself as, right? Would you spend the time to seriously put on the name brand shirt, the name brand pants, the best shoes, the best belt, right? Would you seriously take the time to do all of these things if there was not one other pair of eyes outside of you that could see you in these things? Would you really care if your shoe was a Jordan logo or a fucking star logo if nobody was outside of yourself to see you in those? Because the answer is obvious. No, you would not care. You would not care leaving your house butt naked if you were the only one in existence. It wouldn't matter. No one is there to see you. So my point is by us dressing up and doing all of these things, we're doing it for other people because we have to be seen. We're playing a show, which is the ego. The ego is who we're hiding behind, which is the mask. And the mask has to be seen in their role, in their characteristic role. Right? So in our role, people may know you as, oh, well, he always has nice stuff. He always has the best thing. So in my role, okay, let me put on my Gucci shirt here. Let me put on my $100 pants, and let me put on these Jordan shoes right here. And now we're talking. Huh. Oh, shit, now we're talking. Look out, everybody. I got name brand shoes on. Yep. Yep. Name brand everything. Oh yeah. And we're just living the life. Right? And this is why people who have all the materials, people who have all the possessions are the most sad. Because the people who create these ideas that obtaining anything at all is happiness is a part of the lie. But it doesn't matter what you think you're going to gain. Whether you're trying to gain the knowledge of God, whether you're trying to get a new pair of shoes, whether you're trying to date this new girl you like, it doesn't matter. Anything you're trying to obtain, if you see this as happiness, your happiness can be taken from you and let down and brought down at any time. And this is what we need to understand, is there is nothing to obtain. We don't need to obtain or grab anything. You already are. Most of us have never thought beyond superficially of what it is we want. And so at first glance we think we want the new iPad or the new iPod or the laptops. That's superficial. And so long as we're under the illusion, as we think we need to gain or obtain or buy anything at all, we will be let down. Our happiness is exchangeable. It can be taken away at any moment because you feel, as long as I have this, I'm happy, I'm good. As long as I know I'm God, I'm happy, I'm good. But nothing should be able to take away your happiness because there's nothing for you to need to obtain. For you to feel you have to grab something, you need to obtain something, you need to chase something, is you creating the game, the problem. You're creating the problem in your own mind for yourself. And it's, if I can just get this, then at last we'll be in business here. I'll be happy for once, and this will be it. The big overwhelming feeling of happiness and emotion. And we don't realize, it's hard to say and put into words, but for someone who's taken DMT, they know exactly what I'm speaking about. But you are every single thing you've ever hoped for, ever wished of, dreamed of. In fact, all these ideas that you're creating for yourself where you're saying, if I can just get this, I can just get that, you already are. And so we'll take the person who persistently goes out and chases their ideas of happiness to find that they've been let down. And these are the people who possibly commit suicide. Like some people say, why do celebrities commit suicide? They have everything they want. Or do they? Because remember, the people who have everything they want should be very careful, because once they get everything they want, they sit there in a chair as I'm doing now and they say, now what? Now what? Every car I've ever wanted is in front of my driveway. In fact, here are the keys to any car I've ever wanted. It's right here in my driveway. Behind me sits anything I've ever asked for because I have the money to buy it. And you sit here in your chair and you say, now what? I have no people around me that love me, that care about me. No one around me. I have all these possessions. And this is where the term, a fool and his gold are soon parted. Because a fool and his gold were under the impression that the gold would bring him happiness, and so he is the fool. And so that fool will soon be parted from his gold because he is seeing that gold was the illusion of happiness. He felt he had to obtain the gold to get this, and when he got it, it was absolutely nothing what he thought it was. The same shall apply to anything else. If you think you shall obtain this, well then you're creating the letdown for yourself when you don't have it. You need nothing. You need to chase nothing. To simply be conscious and alive is the grand game, is the grand divine. It is. It's the bright light in front of you right now. Some people in the holy books and people who have described God have said, well, it's brighter than any light anyone's ever seen. Well, that bright light is everything around you right now. Everything outside of you, everything around you right now is that bright light, is the divine. Everything. And so by religions taking that divine out of everything, life is no longer magic. This is just boring, another day, another weekend. Puh. And so we neglect it. It's not appreciated. It's not valued. Because the divine has been taken out of everything. The divine is only one thing, and that thing is in the sky. And that thing in the sky is that white rabbit you're trying to chase. And it isn't until you've chased it hard enough to realize it isn't there. Because it's you. And I'm sorry to say this, but Santa Claus is the first tipping of the iceberg. You find out Santa Claus isn't real as a child, if you ever did even believe in him. You find out that's not real, and your idea of magic and magical beings are slowly ruined, erased. Because you see, okay, if this magic fellow isn't real, then this magic fellow can't be real, nor can this magic fellow. So none of these people are real. And this is what will slowly lead you on your journey. But by you noticing small things like that, that's what allows you to awaken. All these ideas of things like magical things that you've thought you've had in your head, they're all you. Shiva, Jesus, Buddha, Moses, all these people are realizations of consciousness. They're not magical beings in the sky. They're all us. Coming to the same realizations that we all are, asking the same questions that we are asking. The only difference is they made it to the grand stage of knowing. And this is how man becomes immortal, not literally through knowledge. Yeah, but we must be careful with the words that we, because even Satan is not. People don't like me for saying this, but the Baphomet is not evil. Just as the word the devil, the Satan, the Lucifer, these are not evil words. Nothing can be evil without given intent. If something doesn't have intention to harm you or to be evil through intentions, then it is not evil. And this is a fundamental we should realize, is we make things evil. So by you looking at a statue, I can look at a statue of a glorious angel and say that's evil. And then I can look at the Baphomet and say, well, that's beautiful, that's lovely, that's God, that's amazing. It's a matter of perception. We make what's evil. But nothing can be physically, or when you break it down, nothing can be literally evil without the intentions of harming you, without bad intentions. So a statue cannot harm you because a statue has no intentions. Just as a title word, Satan, Lucifer, the devil, these can't harm you. These are words. These are definitions. These are letters with no intention at all. Only a being can be evil because a being has intentions, and a being can intentionally harm you. A being can have bad intentions. It's man that's evil. Nothing that we've created as evil is evil. But this is what I've said as well in my other videos. Man is the beast, and man is the idea of God that they've given. This definite name of God is who we are. And I don't even like using the name God, because then it paints you a picture. And God itself is no definite or painted picture. God itself is no definite name. So by us giving this one energy of consciousness the name God means we feel we understand it. And you can never fully understand it. But the ways you can start understanding it slowly is by understanding that it is you. It's not outside of you, because outside of you, then you must understand. Inside of you, you must understand, and only you can understand yourself. And so I hope a lot of people will have shared this video with people who are trying to beat reincarnation, escape the matrix, escape the game, escape life, escape this. And a lot of people, this is what I love, one thing too. A lot of people say that we're a prison trapped here in the skin. We're trapped here in the skin. We're confined in the skin. This is not the case. This would only be the case. You would only be trapped in the skin and bound here. This would be prison. This would be hell if there was no escape, period. And this may sound sick what I'm about to say, but this is true. Suicide is the way out. If you feel this is a prison, legit. If you feel this is a prison in your mind, you at least have the comfort to know there is a way out. It sounds sick, but it's true. Hear me out. For us to be born here, and there literally to be no way out, even death is not the way out, then this here would be insanity. This would be a prison, a confined prison. Then you could say this was a prison, because there's absolutely no way out. We're stuck here forever, and this is all there is. This would be insanity. Then you shall call it a prison. But so long as you have a way out, there is no prison. No one's keeping you here. No one's holding you down. No one has a gun to your head. This is not a prison. You are choosing to make it a prison by being under the illusion you have to achieve this grand knowledge of 5D or whatever it is that people are posting about. We're only fooling ourselves and stirring up the game. You have nothing to achieve or nothing to obtain because you already are. This is you. And so I hope if you have any friend that's about reincarnation or trying to escape the game, or they think they need to obtain 5D, or they're trying to spread this knowledge to awaken the masses because once the masses awaken then the whole game changes, please share this video because I feel this is a fundamental lecture that needs to be shared with every single person in their process of awakening, especially when you feel this is a prison and we must do something to escape. You being under the illusion you have to do anything at all is your ego. The ego seeks to control. Because the ego is not ready to let go. The ego is not ready to say goodbye to the temporary body. And so the ego is most scared of death and reincarnation. Because it is the erasing of that ego. And the ego does not want to be erased. The ego wants to hold on and be bound forever. It's only our spirit, our one, our inside, our spirit, if you want to call it, that leads us back to one. Naturally, we're all searching for singularity, one, God, if you call it that. And the spirit inside of us leads us back to that one, while the ego seeks to separate us and divide us and classify us. The ego makes us different. And the ego is what's telling you, you must cling on. You must obtain something for something magnificent to happen. In order for you to be free from this prison and escape, you have to do something. That idea alone is the ego, seeking to control. Because it's telling you to become aware of how to escape and then control it. Control. Control, control, control. You had no control of you birthing here. So note that as well. Before your ego could even speak, you had no control of being birthed out here. And as I've said before, a lot of people trying to beat reincarnation don't realize that reincarnation is nothing other than creation. And creation is the only way to experience energy. You have two faces of this energy, but it is creation and destructive. Convergent and divergent, in and out, life and death, yin and yang, on and off. And these two energies are playing at each other, but it is one energy. And creation itself is reincarnation. So there is no escaping reincarnation. You're trying to escape your own self, your own mind, your own supreme being. I'm going to wrap up this video though, because I believe it's about an hour. I try and leave my videos at about an hour and a half mark, because I don't like to put out too many topics and ideas in one video. I like to give people a chance to absorb it all. So I'm going to end this video. This video will be on my YouTube channel. If anyone has my YouTube channel, it's Red Pill Rabbit Hole. If anyone has questions, inbox me, ask. But like I said, feel free to share this video with anybody you have that's awakening, that's into this topic of reincarnation, spirituality, oneness, the divine, anything like that. Thank you to everybody who shares, and thank you for everyone who watched and followed me this morning. Y'all have a good Saturday, and one love.